This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast.
I'm Lauren, and I am one piece of the Partnership Podcast. I am the mother of an 11-year-old and born and raised here in the same small town in Virginia, and currently working as a sexuality educator after over a decade of work in a maternal health field.
I'm Trey, and I'm her partner.
You know what I like? Seeing like what little clips you keep in the beginning before like we launch into the episode. It's always really fun. It's like a little behind the scenes. BTS. I kept saying that when we were on the TV show, which by the way, we should probably do a whole podcast on the hilarity that was the TV show. But lots of people didn't know what BTS meant. Behind the scenes. Happy Monday.
Good morning, honey.
Love you.
Love you too.
So glad we're doing this. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Did you miss it? Did you not think about it because we've had busy weeks or, yeah?
I didn't think about it. It's funny where it's like getting back into the rhythm where it's like, oh, I forgot how to do this, this, and this. So it's like, this is definitely a muscle.
You know why I thought about it? Because I so treasure this time with you just to have sit down long conversations. And we have great conversations all the time. We do coffee drives. We do a lot of other things. But I've come to really enjoy having a topic to discuss usually, and then hearing your thoughts on a matter.
Yeah, I look forward to like when we get into the flow, and then it's like a heater conversation. That's exciting to me.
Heater conversation. I still giggle the fact that the In Conflict episode has been like our farthest reaching episode, and we just don't have conflict.
We do I feel like it's every quarter. Every financial quarter we'll have a conflict.
Okay. We'll just make sure to hop in the chairs.
It's like every 3 months.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And all of the folks I read, study from, will say if a relationship is not having conflict, there's something going on, because two humans growing should be expanding, becoming new versions of themselves, and kind of running into another one. That should result in, oh, whoa, here's something we haven't talked about. And if there's never conflict, then somebody's usually silencing themselves or feeling silenced. So, yeah. Every 3 months. Rapidly growing. We have done some exciting things over the past few weeks. And our audience knows a little bit about it, but not a lot about it. And I think it'd be fun to talk about how we came to some of the decisions, how we collaborated on those as partners, and then how we're feeling, how the experiences felt to each of us in our bodies.
Sure.
Yeah, and how we're feeling post. You good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the conflict, lots of people guessed this. They were like, are you talking about a wedding? Are you talking about getting married on this conflict episode? So if you can recall back to then, do you remember specifically what that conflict was regarding, and can you fill the listeners in? We were so vague during that episode.
Yeah, it was regarding our wedding ceremony and like what we wanted out of it, what you wanted and what I wanted out of it. And my whole thing was at the very beginning, it was like, oh, this is a, what word did we use?
Formality.
This is a formality. We're going to get married on, justice of the peace. I do. And then we're going to like go out to dinner. It's literally not going to be a thing. That's where it started from, where then and like innocently you just started talking about what it could be, and I kind of shut it down where it's like you're changing the plan, but really there was no plan set in place yet. We didn't come up with an agreement of we'll do this, but I got real defensive where it's like I don't want that, or it's like you're changing the plan, or it's like we had this already etched out where it wasn't.
Yeah. And, I think, can I guess as to why that was so dysregulating for you?
Sure.
I'm going to brag on you for a minute, but you really love to care for people. You are an incredible host, incredible host. You were in the service industry for years and years. You really love taking care of people. And so we had chatted for a little bit about if we're not going to have a bells and whistles wedding
traditional wedding
where we bring out the catering and we really take care of people, then let's have basically nothing. Like, let's not disappoint anyone. And so I think that I didn't fail. I failed to communicate, hey, could we do something kind of in between? in those moments. We thought we were going to do justice of the peace. Then we found out in the Commonwealth of Virginia, you can't actually do that. It doesn't work. So we had to get somebody licensed to be a civil celebrant. And so then once we had to do that, my little brain got going like, well, if we have to get a civil celebrant anyway, like we could have a few people. But yeah, I apologize that I didn't do a great job of saying, hey, I see you. I see how you like to care for people. And in retrospect, I wish I had done a better job at that.
No problem, baby. One of my big things was that all my people, I'm from the West Coast, so all my people that I'd want at my wedding were from the West Coast. And there's something in my mind where I don't want to inconvenience people, especially if we're doing like a very small ceremony. I don't want them to have to travel 3,000 miles and spend a couple $1,000 and, you know, lose a day of travel for this thing. But what was pointed out to me was give people the option, which we didn't do. Like I didn't invite my closest friends to this. I feel like I'm, trampling on the lead. So can we talk about what it was, what it could be, and then what we decided on?
Yeah,
Great.
That's a great idea. So why don't you talk about what it was and then the simple things. Okay, let's rewind even further.
Sure.
We were in the pool one August afternoon.
We were in the pool with J-Man, good friend of us, Jay, and he said, do it at your house.
He
like,
said,
you have
when
a
are you
beautiful
guys
backyard, you have a
getting
beautiful
married?
home.
Yeah.
And we're like, we don't know.
We're like, we don't know. Leave us alone.
We had been engaged for over a year at this point, so it's
long.
like, whatever. We don't have a timetable. And he goes, do it in the backyard. And we're like, why not? Yeah, why not? And so then we started looking like, hey, what's catering look like? You know, what's it going to look like to bring in chairs? What's it going to look like to do all this? And we ultimately kind of came to the conclusion of, this is going to be a gigantic pain in the ass and cost thousands of dollars that we could dedicate to other things.
Yeah. Then we sat back and said, what's really important to us with a celebration of our partnership, right? Which is already going pretty well. What's important to us? And we both kind of said a honeymoon, some type of like celebration of our love, and then some really great photos.
Some kick-ass photos.
So we were both like, oh, we're very much on the same page
Yes.
with those two things. So there was a point at which we said, why don't we just do Justice of the Peace in New York City?
Yes.
We said, let's go to New York City because it's special to both of us. We've shared some really special memories there and take our photos. So we were like, that sounds great. Okay, let's look at Justice of the Peace. We did. That was actually pretty cost effective. Like it was easy enough.
That's great. You schedule an appointment.
You schedule an appointment. You walk in. We started to look at honeymoons. You took the charge of that. We were all like carrying along until you had this thought one day. You said, babe, traffic in New York City can be a nightmare. And trying to get to an appointment at a certain time and work photos around that might be a hassle. What if we just Justice of the Peace it here in Lynchburg? This is how this whole thing started.
Okay.
And it was like, great idea. That's when we started.
Because it was a technicality or formality.
Formality, exactly. And I think now in retrospect, I realize that it was more important to me than perhaps I was giving myself permission to feel. That formality, yes, but I still wanted to share that moment with you, even if it had been in Manhattan. I did. Words mean a lot to me. I'm going to cry now.
Where actions mean a lot to me.
Yeah. And so my day in, day out actions to show you love might be more important than any words I ever say to you. And that's similar to me, but you know how much a handwritten card means to me. I've told you so many times, and you write me wonderful words like that. And we got to work through, oh no, this is more important than Lauren first realized in her body. Because then we thought about coming back home and just doing Justice of the Peace. And we looked into that. Wasn't an option. We got civil celebranted. And that's when things started to build and compound. And you didn't want to inconvenience people across the country. And wait, so you were about to say someone, I don't know if it was me or somebody else that said, give folks the opportunity, or yeah, what was the kind of you came to?
When I asked my best man, who's a woman, and she told me, because I literally started the conversation with, hey, we're doing this, because it was maybe a year or two prior where she goes, I just need to be there.
Yeah.
She was very adamant about like, hey, I need to be there when you two get married. So I gave her an out where it's like, hey, you don't have to be here. This is going to be like a 2 or 3 hour ceremony. It's not a big deal. And she goes, I need to be there. And then she did. And it was a pain in the ass. She had a delayed flight. She had to stay the night at a hotel for a layover because the flights got pushed back. It was like a 30-hour travel day for her, and they lost her bags. So it was one of those things where I had to kind of reassure myself that like, oh, this isn't mine to fix. And she was so wonderful as far as help setting up, and it was great, but it felt, and it still does feel like a burden.
Dr. Betty Martin says it can be just as difficult to live with someone who is unable to receive as it is for someone who is unable to give. And I am so proud of you for practicing the art of receiving in that instance. In my experience with you, you feel so much more comfortable giving, providing, taking care of. The art of receiving can be very difficult to humbly and thankfully and gratefully say, wow, it means so much that you're here, that you took the time to give to me in this way, and I receive it with an open heart. And I got to watch you do that. You did a really good job, honestly. I really think you did. I know it was hard, especially when her travel got all messed up, but it was really good. Yeah. And, you didn't invite everybody. I felt that we came to kind of a beautiful place where you said, I am going to tell the ones, that it feels very important to, but I'm not going to invite everybody, because we did choose to still call it an elopement.
Yes, it was we did it let's talk about the elopement. Let's talk about the actual day. So we did it on our anniversary, the actual day of our anniversary. We did it at the house. There were 17 people here, including us. It started at 6 p.m. It ended at 10. We did it in our backyard. We didn't set up chairs or any of that shit. We had a beautiful little lit walkway that we lit with really pretty lights, and we had candlelight, and we got an outdoor fire pit, and then we put lights all over the backyard. It was beautiful. It was simple. It was battery operated lights. We didn't have to run electricity. We turned our dining room table into an entire charcuterie board, and you made soup and pies, and your soup and pies are so good. And it was almost like it was the vibe of a banquet or a Thanksgiving vibe. And then outside, the ceremony took maybe 15 minutes, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
What did I miss? What do you want to add?
No, you did a great job. So once we moved past no one will be there, we really spent a long time talking about who we would want there. And really just chose, again, like a dozen closest friends and family.
And I didn't invite anybody from the West Coast other than my best man.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody, and you kind of allowed me to do that too, where you didn't push like, hey, you need to give them the option, where there's something even like I can feel it boiling up right now where it's, I'm glad I didn't.
Good.
Would I want people there? Of course, but we eloped, so we did it.
Yeah.
That was part of me regulating my stress.
Through this whole experience, I've had a lot of people tell me, wow, looking back, I wish we had done it that way. Yeah. So many people.
Well, isn't that the old adage where it's like you hate your own wedding?
So many.
Isn't that the thing? Because your wedding is for other people, and then you don't even get to enjoy your wedding.
Well, and
I've been to weddings where I mean, fuck, they don't stop for 6-8 hours. The bride and groom, they don't sit down. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like for other people.
Well, and also, I had to really sit with, you don't enjoy being the center of attention.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. So what does it look like for me as your partner to honor that and hold space for that which I desire to experience?
Because you do enjoy being the
I
center
don't
of
mind
attention.
being the center of attention at all. Now, I do have a very empath soul, so being around too many people is too much for me. And I've only recently come to understand this, that I morph. And I did not want to morph on my wedding day. So I did know that I would need very strategic people around me. But I don't mind being the center of attention.
Can you explain what morphing is?
Yes. So for those familiar with the Enneagram structure, I'm an Enneagram 3. And I can be a chameleon or I can morph. I can so easily transform myself to be more palatable for whomever is in front of me. If I decided to go into sales, it would be people with an Enneagram 3 structure are fantastic in sales. I can make anyone feel very comfortable. It's a superpower of mine. It also is my greatest downfall because sometimes I don't check in with myself. Like, what am I feeling? What do I want? How do I want this moment to go? And it takes such great discipline for me to still listen to that. Such great discipline. And now I am a social or sexual 1-to-1 Enneagram 3. So big crowds, it's funny, if I'm on stage, that doesn't stress me out. I don't morph to everyone in the audience. Not at all. I'm still very much me. But if I have people coming up, like at a wedding, how they come up to the people getting married and like want to talk to them, that it's like a siphon. It's like someone is sticking a siphon in me and the next person, I mean, it's horrible. Sorry, you're going to have to edit that on sound and that's going to be horrible.
Not going to happen.
I slurped.
No, everybody's going to hear that.
Sorry.
Not going to happen. I have the same thing where I can't deal with real big crowds. I can't deal with loud noises. I can't deal with a lot of personalities. Or I can, but it has to be like people I've known for 20 years. And even then, I need some alone time.
I was going to say, you need a departure time.
Yeah. Or I just need to kind of go do my own thing in like a corner. And it seems like it's getting a little bit more and more intense as I get older. Where like 20s, not so much, but like late 30s, like, fuck.
Yeah. So looking at Lauren's morphing, Trey's dislike of lots of stimulus, big crowds, we had an opportunity to say, okay, well, what do we want? And I want to thank you publicly for, truly allowing me to craft something that was very ritualistic and full of really important words that I needed to hear, that I really did. I know you didn't have the wounds that I have, specifically when it comes to marriage and weddings, but I needed some things said publicly that I don't even think I realized how important they were to me, for our civil celebrant to say them, for me to hear them, for those gathered around us to hear them. It felt like a declaration a little bit of...
Are you comfortable sharing some of those things?
Yeah. Instead of saying, for instance, they will now share their vows, I had our civil celebrant say, they will now share their choices. Lauren and Trey have already been practicing partnership. Nothing is changing today. We are celebrating the beautiful partnership that they have begun. And we are saying, how do you choose to continue? What does that look like for you two? And I said a lot of words. You said a few words. And that was fine. Like, that's us. It didn't need to be Trey has his 10 sentences. Lauren has her 10 sentences. No, it felt very you and I. I had written something down that felt good to me. I think you went off the cuff. Did you go off the cuff when we shared those choices?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you even remember what you said?
I just talked about the first time that like, I just knew when it was love. I didn't know it at the time. I just shared that story of like, oh shit, I'm in love with this woman. And then like ever since that, literally that moment, I've just been trying to get back to you. Fuck. Yeah, it's been my life. Other than, No, even then. Mm-hmm.
No, it was such a beautiful story and so appropriate for the night too, because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
our love story is just that. It's kind of one that we fell into accidentally. And then we shared on this podcast, I think last time, that we started asking those hard questions way back at the beginning.
100%.
Way back at the beginning. So stepping into quote unquote marriage now should not feel different. And this was something that you really taught me through this tricky time, is that nothing is changing. Like, this is a formality because it is not the government that is going to make me stick it out and be the best partner to you. If I wasn't already being a good partner, this is bullshit.
It's not the government or some type of divine, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I, for the first time, got to really see what you meant by formality. You meant, no piece of paper is the thing keeping me here.
Mm-hmm.
I am choosing that. And if I wasn't already doing the work, then shame on me, right? And I heard you say neither of us should even be here if we need some piece of paper, some divine thing. We've already been choosing partnership. And yeah, that's what a lot of my words said, that I also have trauma surrounding. Sorry, wow, why is this always so hard? I think I did mistakenly think that when someone makes a vow, that it changes something. And so I think I thought in my first marriage, I would wake up the next day and things would be different because now my husband had made a vow to care for me better. And so what I did, sadly, was relinquish the responsibility to care for myself as well. I expected him to do all of that. If I had been responsible for myself, I would have not even been in that relationship moons before. So what I needed to really check in with self regarding this ritual, this wedding ritual, was, Lauren, you cannot do that again. So my words were very much choices, public statements, declarations to out loud about myself of, I will not be doing that again. I will, to the best of my ability, take care of my happiness so that I am able to love you with an outpouring of abundance, because that's what you deserve. But I also deserve to be cared for in the way that I see fit. And it was really important to me that some of these things be said publicly, because I think in our culture still, there's a lot of presumptions about marriage and how people are going to go about their marriages. And I say, fuck that. I have no desire to live the typical married life that I have seen modeled for me by so many people. It is dysfunctional. It is unhealthy. It is full of complaining. And I want none of it. I would have rather just not gotten married. We could be perpetually engaged. I don't fucking care. But if our marriage is just another extension of this partnership, then damn yes.
Cool.
I'm totally fine with that.
And that's why nothing changed.
Nothing.
Other than, I wear a piece of rubber on my left. See, I got rubber on this. I got that.
And you got a little bracelet from the kiddo.
I got a little bracelet. Yeah. Badass. And then I got this little rubber thing.
Yeah. No, so after we did our ritual in the backyard, and we chose to call it a ritual because I did do a lot of research on tribes that welcomed people back in after being at war, right? Rituals are very important to the functionings of communities. I think they're beautiful. Ceremonies, pomp and circumstance, not so much. Then we came into our house. Yeah, we ate food, and then we sat around and people shared stories. It felt like, to me, before there were books, before there were all of these things, people would sit around a fire and tell stories. That's how history was passed down. That's how memory was passed down. That's what it felt like.
It was fun. We all just got in the living room. Everybody had chairs. We passed around bottles of wine. Everybody had their charcuterie. Everybody had their soup. And then people got to talk if they wanted to talk. And it was a little bit of a roast. God, that's fun. and they got to share, and it was really intimate, and took about 45 minutes, and then we had pie.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
For you, because you were just sharing, stimulants are a little too much for you. And I would love for our listeners and viewers to have these conversations with their partners afterwards of, do crowds, overstimulate you? Can we talk about this? Because people compliment us all the time. I don't know if you know this, on sometimes you won't come with me to things because it's too much for you. Yeah. And I never ask you to.
And also I don't want to be there.
You don't want to. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. He's allowed to.
I'm going to watch YouTube clips in the kitchen.
Yes.
Eating salami.
And I don't care because you're your own person.
I want to go to the basement.
I want couples to have conversations about how do large crowds make them feel, because it's such a beautiful way that we can serve one another. Such a beautiful way. Don't drag your partner into something
shit that they don't want to go to, or that like just rocks their
right.
What's it called? Not immune system. Jesus.
Nervous system. Yeah. For like the couple's photo, or for like the Instagram moment, or because we are uncomfortable saying, oh, Trey stayed at home because he doesn't like large crowds. Who gives a fuck? Right? Love your partner, everything, and then be fine on your own. The
couple's photo's funny. What is it? There was something where it's like matching plaid outfits going to a pumpkin patch or something. Yeah. And then it's like, why is he not talking to me on the way home?
Yeah, and some couples love that.
Fucking break. Yeah, some couples do love that.
It is true.
And then
our boys,
some men hate that shit.
Yeah, our boys who were at the ceremony.
Yeah, of course,
they love it. Yeah.
What do we love? We love coffee drives.
We do. I want couples to celebrate them.
Yeah.
That's all I care about, right? Like, learn your partner and then celebrate your partner. If you both love plaid outfits and going to pumpkin patches, my gosh, do it every weekend. But if you don't, leave your partner home. My question to you was, that's such a random tangent. How did it feel on your nervous system that night?
It was great. It was so relaxing, and it was so fun because I got to bounce to conversation. So after our ceremony, we spent maybe an hour just snacking, drinking, and talking. And there was 17 people, right? Yeah. And people would just break off into conversations naturally. So I got to bounce from one conversation to another. I got to have soup over here. I got to hang out with you. I got to go over there. One of my favorite parts was the evening going out to the fire pit, and M was out there. And we got to talk about like stocks. We got to talk about like he loves to day trade. So I got to hear about like day trading and things like that. So it was neat. I got to ask him about his business. We got to talk about mine. It was just fun. And then bounce over here. I think I had like 2 or 3 drinks the entire night. People helped us clean up at the end of the evening. And then we got a suite at a hotel down the street, so we didn't even stay here.
And that was strategic too. So let's talk about that. We really, with hosting a thing in our home, we did not want to then feel like we had to stay in the crumbs of the whole night, right? Like, see the trash that still needed to be taken out and this, that, and the other thing. We really wanted to celebrate.
Also, baby, if anybody got too drunk, they could just stay on the couch or wherever. And then we're like, bye.
I think in our minds, we had envisioned leaving earlier, but it was such a delightful night. We didn't want to go.
That's right. Yeah, we, sparkler exit.
Sparkler exit. Listen, folks, I thought it would be cute. You mentioned it. You just must have been sarcastic. I thought it would be cute to do a sparkler exit because it's like, I could just see the Polaroid photo. It was going to be so cute. Mm-hmm. You mentioned them.
Okay, but I saw the kids like just going ape shit in the backyard with sparklers the entire time. I did mention sparklers, but then it turned into like a 9:30 sparkler exit where everybody holds them and then we run into a car. And then how did I find out about that?
So I sent a text, and anybody who listens to this podcast who was there that night is going to laugh because they talk about this infamous text, and it was like a copy and paste text that gave the details of the evening and then what time we were leaving, which I thought you would appreciate, that there was an out time because you like an end time.
I do appreciate that, but
then it said,
how did I find out about the out time and the sparkler thing, honey?
My brother told you.
Yeah, I wasn't told about the plan. He was asking me questions about it. I'm like, that's not going to happen because Lauren would have told me about it. And I was like, this isn't. Then he literally screenshots me the text. I'm like, oh, fuck it. I just put my hands up. I go, I have no idea. I'm going to show up in a suit.
I'm so sorry.
and get married.
I'd love to know the plan.
I love knowing the plan.
I thought that sparklers were your idea. I really did. That was my bad. I swore that you had brought up sparklers.
I'm sure I did.
But you hadn't meant like
A sparkler exit at 9:30? No.
Anyway.
You're terrible.
I'm terrible.
And this can't happen anymore now that we're married, okay?
Never. You'll just have to punish me.
Okay. What happened after our wedding?
Okay. So we still wanted to do that photo thing in Manhattan and a honeymoon. Mm-hmm. So we chose to do, our ritual on the 3rd anniversary of us meeting, which was really special too. That was just awesome. We stayed at a local hotel, woke up that next day, nice and slow, had a great morning. Then we went back to work for a day. So a day or two. And then we got on a train on Sunday. It was really nice to have that time in between because we were able to focus, kind of like compartmentalize. I focused all on the ritual, didn't think about anything else. And then we got on a train to Manhattan. And yeah, I think I'm going to start crying again. Lord have mercy. When we went together, you and I decided we wanted to take photos in Manhattan. You asked me who I would want to photograph it. And I said that the person who takes my very favorite photos is my ex-husband. And you could have said, hell no. Yeah. Like, are you crazy? What did you think when I said that?
A, super talented artist. B, or like 1A, it's too good of a story to pass on.
It was like simultaneous thoughts.
Out of the closet, ex-husband.
Yeah.
Takes wedding photos.
Yeah.
# second marriage. Dope.
Yeah.
And he's an ally.
Yeah.
Like we're friends now.
Yeah.
We had such a good time because we were together with the photographer, makeup and hair, and our driver, Jose, shout out. We were together for what, like 6-7 hours? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and it was just fun. It was like, he works so efficiently. The directions are so concise. And then he doesn't take 1,000 photos to get one good one. He'll take 10. He'll be like, got it. Mm-hmm. Like when we did our like me getting dressed, took 10 minutes.
Really?
Maybe 15.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, got that. He goes, move over there, chin down. Here, got it, great. It was surprising how efficiently he is.
It's like he's been doing it for 15
It's like
years.
He's been doing it. It's like he's a master of his craft.
So anyway, we talked about who would I want to photograph it. I said my ex-husband. You so lovingly said exactly what you just recapped. That's too good of a story.
And
Let's ask him.
Also, he as a wedding gift, he did it complimentary to us. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's wonderful. His rate is elite.
As it should be.
As it should be.
Yeah, so I sent him, we have a group thread because like you said, we're allies. And so I asked him how he would feel about this. And he said, let's do a FaceTime. So he and I FaceTimed, and he's back to that Enneagram structure, an Enneagram 4. So he's very artsy and very feely. And I think we were both crying as he said, yeah, I think I'd love to do this. I think this would be not only a way for me to love on you and Trey as a gift, but also healing.
Did he say that before or did he say that after?
I mean, he said that after too. I have documented proof, but on our FaceTime, that one time you saw me sitting over at the college across the street, like on FaceTime, you waved, you were like taking a walk. Yeah. I'd been FaceTiming with him. And so we talked about dates that worked. This was also the nice thing of us doing it our own way, is that we were able to really structure things around his availability as well. And so we decided on a midweek thing, a random Tuesday. And so he could shoot on both weekends. And yeah, we said, can we put you up in a hotel right there with us? So it's just easy peasy. And, is that too much? Do you need space from us? But no, again, we're all pretty much allies right now and take our responsibility of setting our boundaries very seriously. And he does a fantastic job with this now. So yeah, we agreed. And yeah, we went up on Sunday. He got up there on Monday. So did best friend J-Man, who this whole thing is his fault, like all of this happening. He's the same one who'd been in the pool with us. And he did my hair. A makeup artist came in on Tuesday. It was supposed to rain. But the rain pushed through. My baby sister came to sit in the hotel room with me while I was getting ready. Yeah. And then we hopped in a car that you had arranged and drove around the city and took fabulous photos. We didn't even drive that many places around the city. Let's change this. We went to one place and then we went back. We walked.
Two.
We walked.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
But traffic was horrendous. Traffic was really horrendous. I am so glad that we did not try to get to a courthouse to do it there. That would have been incredibly stressful. We had no timelines.
We had no timelines. We didn't have to be anywhere at a specific time. And so we went to a restaurant that we hold near and dear to our hearts. We took photos there. We photobombed the place almost.
They were not happy with us.
The owner showed up.
He's
like, we're so honored. We're so honored, but you guys need to get the fuck out.
I had gone the day before to ask permission, do all these things.
Sure.
Wasn't enough. Enough.
Nobody told him. He wasn't involved in the plan.
He was not.
Yeah, he wasn't involved in the plan. Then we walked to Washington Square Park. We took photos. How did you feel walking around in a wedding dress in the city?
You said it best. Well, first of all, I made a shot list for ex-husband, but I also made a list of emotions I wanted to feel. And this is something I do with clients as well. That how do you want to feel on this day? And then how will you know you are feeling that thing? And so one of the things I said amidst romantic, slutty, dramatic, all these things was human. I knew I would feel that way if I could connect with the humans that saw us and look them in their eyes. So I had no idea this would happen, but walking through Washington Square Park, we were congratulated, maybe 50 times?
Sure.
I mean...
Everybody. The dudes playing chess, the old guys playing chess, I think the drug addicts, the normies, everybody. It's never had an experience, probably never will, in the city, in Manhattan, where people are looking and warm to you immediately.
Oh, it's so warm.
Because I was in my tux, you were in your wedding dress, traditional white wedding dress, and people were excited and warm to us. People would stop and take photos. It was a really unique experience in that sense because in Manhattan, people mind their business. So it was neat to kind of get to experience the opposite. People were very warm. That gentleman invited us to the manager of the hotel. He invited us in. We got to take photos in there. We got to use the bathroom. That was one thing that was kind of dinging my logistics bells. It's like, okay, everybody use the bathroom. Hydrate, but not so much. Does anybody need nuts? So it was
so warm too. The day was just not
out.
Too warm.
60s?
It was just lovely.
60s.
I was in a sleeveless dress. I was never cold.
Yeah.
You were in a tux. Do you remember being hot?
Never. It was odd. It was odd how well things worked out. Where, I mean, we were, I think, 45 minutes late to even get to the driver, but who cares? He was on our schedule.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And it was a huge key part that we didn't have to be anywhere at a specific time. We got to do what we wanted. And you were the MVP because we wanted to go to the Guggenheim while we were literally passing the tram to get back to Roosevelt Island. And it was going to take maybe 45 minutes to get to the Guggenheim, a mile and a half in the fucking city. And you said, no, turn us around. We're going back. We don't need to take photos at the Guggenheim. And then we got to go back to the hotel. We got to recharge. You got to do a change. You did a change in the car, but we got to take even better photos because we kind of had time. My nervous system came down because we would have had to fight getting back to or taking the subway. Yeah. So thank you for saving, I'm talking too much, but thank you for saving all those logistics. And then we got to go back to the hotel, and then with our photographer, we got to take some amazing photos in such a relaxing manner. And then we took off all that bullshit, and I put back on sweatpants and a hoodie, and we got to go to dinner with Jay, and I surprised him with another night where it's like, you're not going anywhere. You're not going back to Washington Heights. You're staying right here with us. So we got to go out, hang out, and then I got my second wind, and I'm like, peace, motherfuckers. I'm getting on the subway. I'm going to the stand, shout out, and watching some comedy on a Tuesday night, November 1st. and it was so much fun. And
It was beautiful.
it was beautiful.
And Jay came back to my hotel room with me, and we had best friend time. There were just all of these, the things that people talk about from their weddings that they truly loved. I feel like I still got from like these tiny little bits and pieces, if not more of it, because I got this one-on-one time with all of the most important people in my life. Even one of my best friends in the world couldn't come over on the day of, and I got to spend hours with her the day after. I mean, it was so perfect. Yeah, you left for comedy. Jay was like, does he always do that? Does he always just leave? And I said, that's one of my favorite parts about our partnership is that he so trusts me to be okay without him. If I had not been doing well or something, you wouldn't have left my side. You would care for me. But like, no, he knows I'm okay. And that's the greatest compliment in the world of she's good. You're here with her. She's set. She's got a friend time.
I want to give you that one-on-one time too.
No, it was ideal. So then
I wanted some one-on-one. I wanted some solo time.
Yes. And so I just kept beaming as your partner, knowing how full that makes you. And that like your wedding memories are going to have all of those types of things connected to them. The things that make you happiest in the world, that it just made my heart glow. Like that's what partnership is feeling this abundance of joy because your partner's experiencing joy too. Like I could see how happy you were at our ritual with everybody around. I could feel how calm your nervous system was. I could see how happy you were when I chose to reroute us and send us back home for photos.
Because I can be a pouty little boy sometimes.
You can't.
Strong and as I think I am. I can be a pouty little boy.
Especially when logistics are starting to go off track. And you don't know necessarily how they're going to get back on track. Yeah, but you leaned on me for the things that were mine to drive. You did such a good job,
honey. You drove so well. You led that so well, babe. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for supporting me. So then we had a recoup day the day after.
That's great.
And we got to spend time with my sister and her partner, and then my ex-husband's partner came in too.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh my gosh, that was a beautiful rooftop bar. And then the next day we got on a plane to go to our own honeymoon. Everything felt so spaced, so full of like breath, not rushed. Hopped on a plane the next morning. That was early morning, but then got to our honeymoon destination like after lunch, like 1. It was crazy. And then just had 6-7 full wonderful days on a honeymoon, of which 2 of them it poured down rain.
Yeah.
And
it was still awesome.
So awesome.
Yeah, we picked a great spot. We went to the Dominican Republic, Punta Cana, specifically the Excellence Punta Cana, which I'd highly recommend. And we were really well taken care of, and we had so much fun, and we got to connect, and we got to have our independent time, and we got to have our adventures.
Lots of people commented on like my Insta stories, like, where's Trey? Why isn't he ever in your things? And it's funny because I hadn't even thought about it. To me, that's just how we exist.
I sleep next to you. That's where I am. I'm in bed next to her.
You spend a lot of other time with me aside from just being in bed with me.
Nope.
Yeah. To me, our honeymoon just felt like another extension of our partnership.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
No, I think y'all... listeners and viewers, Trey and I, the reason our partnership works so well for us is that we both really value alone time and are not afraid to just enjoy life alone as well, and then come back to each other and share fun experiences and then go away again.
I've always been able to say to you, like, hey, I don't want to do this, or it's like, hey, I'm going to go do this. And then it's not like a personal affront to you.
Yeah.
Where it's not like, well, what's wrong? It's like, there's nothing wrong. It's that you've always given me that space.
I think, second husband of mine.
First wife, what up?
I tried and obviously failed at making my first marriage a cookie cutter marriage that resembled all these other happy faces I could see on social media and magazines and other things. And I still, to this day, am deeply sorry to my ex-husband for all of the times he just wanted to be himself. And I tried to push him into a situation so that I didn't have to face my own discomfort in being somewhere solo or being in a photo alone or you name it. And it was wrong. It was wrong of me to ask him to be someone that he was not. And I will never do it again. Never. Not for the gram, not for, I don't care. It's not worth it. You are who I love. You are who I choose. And it works for us.
And I feel that and I see that. And that's how you treat me. And it's great. It's a great life. I live a great life.
We had beautiful adventures on our honeymoon. We did safaris.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So
much fun. I had so many omelets.
So much.
Yeah.
But we ate breakfast
when
together,
wasn't
I
hungry,
think, twice. Only twice.
I think so, yeah.
I just so enjoy refueling myself and then also hanging out with you, but it's just not necessary to me to do all the time. And I want to acknowledge attachment styles, and we could do a whole podcast on attachment styles. I am sure that you and I both have not only secure attachment styles, but also a little bit of avoidant attachment styles. And it works for us. The combo does of we can spend time alone and be okay. So I would encourage listeners and viewers to also look into that, but we can do a whole potty on that.
What happened after we got home?
What happened after we got home? Oh, well, I mean, I don't know if this is what you were talking about, but I had also planned for someone to come in and clean our home ahead of us coming home. That was a gift to me. Yeah. But we came home and we went right into life. I don't know. What did you want me to say?
No, I mean, just whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say. Wait, no, we're married now, so you will.
I will submit.
You will say what I
will. No, we came home and I jumped right into client appointments the day after and felt refreshed and full of joy. People who have known me for years and years, right, remember that I used to have such difficulty with what I called re-entry. I would have panic attacks and feel depressed and want to run away from the world. And I couldn't wait to get back. You and I both felt that way come the last day. We were sad to leave like the ocean. That was really nice in the sunshine. Mm-hmm. But we were ready for our tasks. Like we love our everyday here.
I want to write. I want to see my cat. The leaves are a mess. I want to go to the golf course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like this version of life. Yeah, honeymoon life is, I mean, it's a Shangri-La version of life, but that's not sustainable. I don't want that. I kind of want to.
No, I want
to write. Want to do my shit.
I miss the kid. So much.
Miss my basement.
And so we've done a lot of like cuddles all together in the bed watching TV.
A lot of TV, a lot of like check-in time, food together. So
eating meals. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been a lot of family time.
Kiddo was doing her crafts in bed. I got this badass thing right here.
So it's been beautiful. It doesn't feel any different. It just feels like we did this incredible thing that we kind of both keep referencing. Like, hey, remember when? Yeah. Or, hey, wasn't that funny? Or, oh, we did this thing.
It was wonderful that it started with an idea, and then we actualized it, and then we saw it through to completion, and we're actually really happy with the process. It usually doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm. So, fuck yeah, we did a thing. Mm-hmm. And now the state's involved in our relationship.
Yeah. But it's our responsibility. So, yeah, we can wave that piece of paper around.
I will wave that piece of paper around. Don't you?
I think it's also brought to mind, and I will not go down this rabbit hole, but you and I have talked about this a little bit, that it's really unfortunate that there are still so many who can't enjoy the government perks of quote-unquote marriage.
Talking about the gays.
That and those folks who are in more non-traditional relationships and things like this. It's just, there are so many intricacies around this, so many privileges given to the married that we're now seeing that we're like, that's really sad, because it's not like anything changed here, but all of a sudden, because we have a piece of paper, we can get all these benefits. It's just, I just want everybody to know that it rubs me a little off, because I had a piece of paper before and was being treated like shit inside of a marriage, but had perks, like it's all a little backwards. What would you say best memory or best takeaway from the ritual, from the photos, from the honeymoon?
How relaxed the photo taking was. Like in the belly of the beast, in the busiest city in the world, how relaxing that process was and how unique that process was. Best takeaway. What about yours?
I was waiting for you to ask me. The intentional moments of connection, whether it was in our living room with the 15 people plus us, whether it was Jay sitting on the floor of the bathroom while I was stress steaming the night before our photos because I had a nervous tummy, whether it was my sister sitting on the bed while I was getting makeup done and then holding me when I had a trauma breakdown, whether it was walks with the ex-husband while you and Jay walked ahead of us when we were taking those photos at the end of the day, whether it was our pool safaris, you and me meeting that other couple on our honeymoon, those moments of connection, I felt present enough to witness in the moment. And to me, that's like the meaning of life of, this is what life is about, is these humans that I have the honor of doing it with. And primarily you, and wouldn't change it for the world. So I love you, partner.
Love you the most, baby.
Mwah. The opinions expressed on this podcast are just that, opinions. We encourage you to take what you like and leave the rest. We love research and hope you do your own. We hope that our successes and failures enable you to build the partnerships you dream about. So I like to take a little minute just at the end of these podcasts to talk about the platform that we use for our podcast called Anchor. When we were first getting into the scene of podcasting, I didn't know much, but did a simple Google search and found that by just uploading one high-res video to Anchor's platform, it does the rest of the work for me, pushes out the audio and video to every platform podcast users use. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to tell you more about Anchor.